this tutorial, we are going to talk about Humble Warrior. And there are two variations of Humble Warrior. There's one from Warrior 1, and there's another in Warrior 2. And there are slightly different hip placements for each variation. So we'll start with Warrior 1 variation. Okay? So find your Warrior 1, stepping up to the top of the mat. Being mindful here that your feet are fully connected. I'm sorry, you can't see my back foot. This is Lokey. Lokey is protecting my foot today. You want to make sure that the right knee is tracking over the foot. And as we go into this, the leg will bend more, so be mindful that the knee doesn't pass the toes. Okay? So keeping the hips as square as you possibly can. Bring your hands behind and interlace the fingers. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift your heart, meaning that the ribs lift up out of the waistline. As you exhale, bend the front knee a little bit more, and you're going to fold forward. So the belly, the ribs, the shoulder come to rest on that thigh. So this thigh essentially becomes a shelf for you. So lying down on it. If your balance is good and steady, allow the head to lower, and the arms can float over the head for a stretch. Now, once you're down here, you'll feel that there's a nice sensation through the hamstring. You may feel this through your lower back and glutes as well as the shoulders. Just taking a few breaths here. Then to come out of the pose, inhaling, lifting the head first. Exhale, press through the legs and come all the way up to vertical. Great. So we're going to switch to the other side, and I'm going to talk a little bit about restrictions here, because if your hamstrings are super tight or your back or your hips are tight, you won't be able to fold as far forward, and that's perfectly fine. You only want to bring your body as deep as it will go in any pose that we do in yoga. So taking the hands now behind the back, again interlacing the fingers. If your shoulders are so tight that you can't reach, use something, have a towel or a belt or whatever can connect your two hands behind you. Roll the shoulders back, pretend I'm holding on to something here. Roll the shoulders, lift the heart, and as you exhale, start to fold forward. The front leg bends, and if there's restriction here in the hamstring, you only go as far as you can go. So maybe it's only the belly that touches. Maybe you have belly and ribs. Maybe the arms don't float so high. Maybe you bring the hands to the lower back. Make any variations that you need to feel good for your body, right? And if you are this high, you wouldn't drop the head, because that actually breaks the line of the spine. Yeah, and it may actually stretch you out a little too much in the back of the neck. To come out of it, inhale, lift yourself all the way up, pressing through the legs, and then exhale, gently release. So that's our first variation. Oh no, wait. One other point I'd like to make about this Humble Warrior in Warrior 1 is the hip placement. I'm going to take my right leg here so you can see what I'm talking about. As I move into it, I'm doing my best to keep my hip in line with my knee, which is in line with my foot. I very often see people when they move into this, that the hip starts to sway out to the side. When you do this, it starts to incorporate more of the inner thigh of the back leg, and that's not necessarily what we're looking for in the Warrior 1 version. So we want to pull that right hip down and back, and the sensation will switch to the inner front leg. So just be very mindful of that. If you feel that once you've come into the Warrior that you're looking at the opposite side of your mat, so in this case it would be the left side of my mat, then chances are that the hip is out to the side. Do your best to try to pull it back and find your alignment. Moving on to our Warrior 2 variation. I'm going to do this one on the other side. So finding Warrior 2. Nice wide stance. My hips are open this time. I'm not looking for that squareness, but the knee is still tracking over the middle of the foot. The hands come behind and interlace just as before. Rolling the shoulders back, inhaling, lifting the heart and the ribs out of the waist. And as you exhale, this time you're going to fold to the inside so the shoulder brushes the inner thigh instead of laying on the thigh. Letting it come down. Now I do find a little bit of pressure here. I'm squeezing my inner thigh to my shoulder and my shoulder to the inner thigh. From there, if balance is good, let the head lower and the arms float over for a stretch. My back foot, the straight leg foot, is also very active here. I'm pressing into it to make sure that my weight is balanced between both feet. Inhale, lifting the head up. Press through those legs. Exhale, come up. So when you're in these humble warriors, you'll notice that the weight moves towards the foot that you're leaning on, and naturally that's where the torso's going, that's where most of your weight is shifting. But you do have a wide stance in the legs. So energizing this back leg to carry weight, really pressing it down, will help to counter that so that you're not heavy, top heavy on this side, right? So let's take the warrior 2 variation on the other side. Inhale, lifting the heart. Exhaling, folding to the inside. Now on this one, it's okay if the hips swing back a little bit. This is a little bit more open. And depending on where your tightness is, you can feel it anywhere within these legs and the lower back and shoulders. Keep the eyes open when you're in this pose, even though you're upside down. And then to come out, inhale, lift the head. Exhale, press through, come all the way up to vertical. So there you have it. There's your Humble Warriors 1 and 2. Thank you for joining me. Remember to breathe. See you next time. There you go.
If you liked the class, please hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And be sure to click the bell for email notifications when new videos are released. Let me know how you felt after doing this practice in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Also, if you have a request for a specific focus or tutorial, please ask in the comments below. Please share this video if you know someone who might enjoy it. Be well and remember to breathe. See you next time.